Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 1. Self-inflicted pain, not qualified to call pain. Country M, a top-level French restaurant, should have been the peak time for dining at this moment, but there was no one in the entire restaurant. In the middle of the huge restaurant, there was a long table with the best position and a white-haired man was sitting. The old man seems to be waiting for someone. The old man wore a tailored tang suit, exquisite workmanship, simple style, and high-quality fabrics. At first glance, they were made by famous designers, and they were expensive. A huafa not only doesn't look old-fashioned, but adds a bit of immortality to the old man. It seems that the old man is about 70 years old, and the little wrinkles on his face show that the old man has a lot of experience. A pair of eyes are very energetic, and sometimes a light flashes, showing the old man's wisdom. At this moment, he is holding a piece of Country Times in his hand, looking at it casually, with a pair of gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose. At this age, people can't help but look more. After a while, a young and beautiful girl with a ponytail, a red plaid shirt on her upper body, and white jeans washed on her lower body, led by the waiter, came to the opposite side of the old man. The woman smiled at the waiter and said thank you, and went straight sitting opposite the old man. The old man put down the newspaper in his hand and looked at the woman opposite. The woman lowered her head and looked at the menu in her hand. The bangs on her forehead covered her charming eyes. Her white skin was as pink as a baby, and her facial features were delicate and beautiful. The tempting red lips are not dotted, and the faint lip gloss is shiny, making people want to kiss. It is definitely an out-and-out beauty. She is sitting in the warm light in the restaurant on the opposite side. There seemed to be a room of brilliance in his body, and everything around was eclipsed. No one would have thought that such a pure and beautiful woman would be a killer. That's right, this woman is no one else. It is the dark organization that makes the world's major powers jealous. The chief gold medal killer Sue under the Reaper International, codenamed Death Sue. Death International is a dark organization in the 21st century that has made the world's major powers jealous. It has countless killers and top talents. It is said that there are as many assassins in Reaper International in any store, company, and factory in the world. As long as there is no mission, these killers are all hidden among the people. Some of them are small nurses, some are small staff, some are waiters, some are group executives, doctors, police, and even heads of state, and some are roadside beggars. As long as they don't want to, no one can identify them. It is precisely because of this that as long as the target targeted by the Death International, there will be no life, no matter who it is. Grim Reaper Sue is the chief gold medal killer of Grim Reaper International. In the past 10 years since his debut, he has a zero-failure record. He is also the chief instructor of Grim Reaper International's training. Sue's identity, life experience, gender, age, etc., all the information is a mystery. Even the partners that Bleach International works with, have no way of knowing. The only person who knows a little about her is the old man sitting across from her now, Mr. Hua, the founder of Death International, an equally mysterious old man. Do I have to go for this mission? Sue asked casually without raising his head. Except you, I don't worry about anyone else. When the old man spoke, his eyes kept falling on Sue. There is an unclear light in his eyes. Got it. Sue put down the menu and smiled at the old man. Her smile is brilliant, innocent, beautiful, and alienated. A touch of unbearable flashed in the eyes of the old man, and he soon disappeared. He also smiled lovingly and said, I have already ordered your favorite steak, and there are other things you want to eat. You order by yourself. How have you lost weight recently? A lot, just eat more. Ha, good. Sue slightly nodded. The exquisite dishes were served one by the waiter. Each dish was expensive, exquisitely prepared, and presented very well. It seemed very appetizing. The whole meal time was about an hour. The old man and Sue were just silent, bowing their heads very seriously to eat. The two of them never spoke a word. They really carried out the ancient admonitions of Shibuyan very thoroughly. Night, as dark as ink. Country M, top floor of the security agency. Sue, in a black tights, her petite body was completely integrated into the night, neatly evading the infrared detection system that was constantly scanning. The body is flexible like a civet cat, jumping from the top floor and directly into a room on the 9th floor. Boss, you only have 3 minutes, and you have to leave as soon as 3 minutes are up. Otherwise, it will be unthinkable. Sue's earphones sounded a charming female voice, and said nervously. Lon, you go back first. I have no problem, remember what I said, no matter what happens, don't come back, no. Sue finished speaking and took off the headset. Therefore, she did not hear a sneer from the earphone. Relying on his keen hand and advanced equipment, Sue easily entered a room on the 9th floor, then down to the 8th floor, and entered the last room at the end of the 8th floor. According to the information, she easily opened the safe and got the information she needed. When she was about to get up, she saw a black stone inside the cabinet from the corner of her eye, and a dark light flashed through her curiosity. She took it in her hand. At the same time, the lights in the room suddenly lit up, and countless gunshots rang out from all directions. Sue, who reached out his hand, couldn't get out of his body in the sudden rain of guns and bullets. She was shot by countless bullets, and blood kept flowing out of her body. She could even clearly feel that her life was constantly being lost. In the crowd, a tall and beautiful woman who also wore a black tights pushed an old man in a wheelchair and slowly walked over. When she saw the old man, Sue was not surprised. As early as when she took over this task, she was prepared. It's just that when he saw the woman behind the old man, Sue's eyes flashed with surprise and disappointment, and he was relieved. Hate it? No, she doesn't hate it. She has always taught every killer that the only person who can believe is herself. But she made such an idiotic mistake and believed her. So she doesn't hate it, because she asked for it. Self-inflicted pain, not qualified to call pain. Sue, don't you want to ask me why? The old man asked a little bit intolerably in his eyes. No, because the answer is no longer important. Sue said with a smile, looking at the old man, the woman behind him, and the countless killers around him. Just when the old man and others wondered why she was still smiling at this time. I saw Sue quickly took out a black box from his arms and pressed his finger lightly. Boom! With this huge explosion, Sue clearly saw the frightened and angry expressions of those people before his consciousness fell into darkness, and the flying stumps and broken arms flying. That's enough. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 2. Is this the underworld? What did you say? Said a dangerous female voice, gritted her teeth. The owner who heard the voice was in a very bad mood at the moment. Ahem, this is just a mistake and mistake. Ha ha ha. It's really a mistake. A voice accompanied by a smile said vaguely. Damn, you can just make a mistake. My mother, my life is gone, so tell me the mistake. The woman's voice raised several times. This woman is no one else, but Sue, the modern gold medal killer. And where she is now, is the legendary palace of the Lord of Gods. The dark hall is very luxuriously decorated. Above the main seat sits a man with a black mask. It is said that he is the king of Yama. On either side of him stood 2 guards, one black and one white, which is said to be black and white impermanence. Sue, who fell into the dark consciousness in the sound of the explosion, appeared here after waking up, and the person named Hades above told her. She shouldn't have died, the explosion just injured her seriously and fell into a coma. She will wake up in 2 years. However, because of his mistake, he gave the wrong order, causing the black and white impermanence to hook the wrong soul, and directly brought her, who should not have been killed, to the underworld. Sue is in a bad mood, but he is alive or dead. She didn't care that much anymore. When the incident happened, the chilling betrayal and years of calculation and use did not make her commit suicide, but it also made her feel no lingering. However, being hooked for no reason still makes her very unhappy. Ahem, don't be angry. I will make up for this mistake. Don't worry, I will send you back right away. Yen Wang said embarrassedly. Send me back. Are you sure my body is still there? If she is not dead, it's okay to say, but once it is confirmed that she is dead, those people will probably cremate her immediately. Sure enough, the king of Hades was silent for a moment, and was a little depressed to find that Sue's body had indeed been cremated. Immediately he said with a flash of inspiration, "Well then, or you can stay here and be a secretary for me, okay? This is the underground palace?" Sue raised his eyebrows and asked. "Yes." Hell nodded. "Am I a ghost now?" "That's right." Yen Wang continued. "She was hooked up and she was naturally a ghost when she came here." "I don't want it, I can clearly be a man, why should I be a ghost here?" Sue directly refused. "That's it, then I'll send you to another place." "I can change your identity, send you to another place, how about being a human being?" Yen Wang thought for a while and said with a pat on his mask. "Go somewhere else? Change my status? You mean you want me to borrow a corpse to resurrect? Use someone else's body to live? No, I won't do it. I want my own body, but I don't want someone else's body," Sue said directly. Let her enter another physical life, thinking about it, she feels uncomfortable all over. "It's okay, I can help you find a corpse that looks exactly like you're dead, so that you won't be uncomfortable." "How?" Yen Wang continued temptation. "Exactly the same." "What do you mean?" Sue raised his eyebrows and asked. Hearing that there is a door, he immediately explained, "It is to help you find a body that is exactly the same as your dead body, but it is in another time and space. This way you will not feel unnatural, which is equivalent to another time and space. It's not bad to live once, right?" Su Wenyen lowered his head and was silent. He looked at Su, who was silent, wondering why he was a little nervous. "I'm afraid this little girl refuses her request again. Why is his dignified Hades a little scared of this little girl in front of him? This is really incredible, and it hurts his self-esteem." "You mean to let my soul go through?" Su raised his head and asked the hell on the opposite side. Yes." Yen Wang nodded immediately. "Well, where are you going to send my soul? What's your identity?" Su lightly asked. Although traveling through this kind of thing is a bit evil, she is already in the underworld, and modern corpses are probably burned to ashes. Compared to being a ghost in this dark underworld, she can only let this Hades send her to other people. Time and space. That's a place on the earth where you don't exist, called Fumwu continent. It's better to have good mountains and rivers and good people. Your identity is the third lady of the palace. Yen Wang talked a lot about it again. After he finished speaking, he raised his head and found that Su was looking at him with a faint smile, stretched out his hands and said nothing. Yen Wang trembled as Su saw her, and her smile was so terrible for Mao. He calmly asked, "What do you mean?" "Get it? No place on earth, who knows what perversions I will encounter. If you don't give me some baby, won't I be bullied when I arrive?" Su said with a smile. Upon hearing what Yen Wang said about the continent, she guessed that it was no different from the novels that have been read in modern times. It's the kind of place similar to ancient China. It's either cultivating or cultivating immortals. She has gone with a modern soul and knows nothing. Wouldn't it be dead soon? Hearing the words, the king sweated on his forehead. How can this girl be so difficult? Can he not give it to her even if he has a baby? Besides, how does she know so much? Did she still pass through? However, there is no information on it. I don't have any baby. I am a god, and gods don't need to practice, so I don't have a baby. Hem Wang planned to go and say directly. Hearing that, Su still stretched out his right hand lazily, looked at him with disdain, and said casually, "Uncle Hades, do you think this kind of nonsense that a 3-year-old child doesn't believe, do I believe it?" As he said, Su's momentum changed, and a cold coercion slowly radiated. Hades suffocated, and he didn't understand at all, why this girl has such an aura above the emperor. At this moment, she is like the most noble in the gods, people dare not look at her, and people can't help but want to surrender at her feet. What's going on? Su raised his eyebrows and looked at the Yen Wang, who was in a cold sweat, and finally saw him struggling. He raised his head helplessly and said, "Okay. I'll give it to you." As he said, he stretched out his left hand and placed it gently on Su's forehead. Su felt his mind sway, and then some knowledge of the cultivation mentality was forcibly poured into his memory. All right. Yan Wang's relieved voice sounded in Su's ear. Su Wei smiled and continued, give me another weapon, and some healing pills or something. You. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 3, the antidote falling from the sky. He stared at Su for a long time, and finally had no choice but to take a rusty dagger, and handed her a few bottles of pill, only these, do you want love? Su put the things away directly, put the medicine in his arms, and hid the dagger in his sleeves. After seeing it, he said, thank you, Uncle Yan, now we can go. Seeing Su smiled and squinted his eyes, Yan Wang felt dull for no reason. Why does he think this girl is so hateful? Let's go. Hades nodded, and then swiped his big hand in the air. Su saw the midair of the hall, a black whirlpool suddenly appeared, and then her soul was sucked in. When the vortex closed, Su came from a distance with a smile, Uncle Hades, thank you baby. I will bring you a present when I meet again next time. Hearing the words, he always feels that something is wrong there. Does this girl feel a little happy for Mao? The things he gave are useless. One, that and that, your ring seems to be missing. Bai Wuchang on one side pointed at Hell's finger and said. Because he seemed to see that woman just now, taking something from Wang's hand. Hearing this, the king looked down and found that the space ring in his hand was indeed missing. His face suddenly turned black, but he just got it not long ago. Before he could recognize the Lord, he just put it on his hand. This girl is really. Hell smiled helplessly. If you look carefully, you will find that there is still a trace of pampering in his eyes. Wang, do you want me to chase? He Wuchang said immediately. Fine, let her go. Girl, I hope we don't meet too early. Yan Wang looked at the distance and thought to himself. Fengwu Continent. Fengtian Kingdom, in a forest on the outskirts of Fengtian City. At this moment, the moon is black and the wind is high, the sky is as black as ink, there is no star or moon, and you can't see the 5 fingers even if you stretch out your hand. It hurts, it hurts. Hot, so hot. Su was awakened by the tormented pain and heat. The brain is still a little confused, and a little confused. The heat and tingling sensations in her body made it difficult for her not to wake up. He opened his eyes suddenly, and it was completely dark. A pair of sharply divided eyes looked at the surroundings vigilantly. After careful perception, I determined that this should be a forest. Su was a little confused. She clearly remembered that Hades told herself that her identity here was the third lady of the palace. For Mao, in the middle of the night, a third lady from the palace, will appear in the forest. It's so hot. Wait, does this feel? A fierce heat and a fatal emptiness in the lower abdomen. Su's body trembled fiercely. Damn, she was drugged. Damn Yama. Don't let her see him again, or she will want him to look good. Before he could think too much, Su reached out and leaned into his arms. It was obvious that there was the pill that the king had given before, hoping to relieve the poison in her body, but only then did I find out that all the pill and dagger disappeared. Clean. Carefully touched the clothes on her body, and it was obviously not the same as the clothes she had worn before. In other words, she didn't bring the things she asked for from the Hades in the underworld. This recognition made Su in his heart, he scolded Hades severely again. Hades, who was far away in the underworld, was sitting in the hall, looking at the life and death book, sneezing and sneezing, making him do everything. No more. After confirming that there was no antidote on his body, Su looked at the dark sky with a bit of speechlessness. Could it be that she crossed over to die under this poison? It might as well be a ghost in the underworld. No, she can't die like this. As a top killer in Hyundai, she is naturally no stranger to this drug. Sometimes she has used it for tasks. It's just that modern love potions are not so powerful. She has already bitten her tongue several times to keep herself awake. She knows very well that if this kind of poison is unsolved, the result can only be a dead end. But when there is no cure, the only way is to find a man. And don't say it's a man anymore, there isn't a male animal, okay? At this moment, a golden light flashed across the sky, and then something fell from the sky. Puff through. With a loud noise, an unknown object fell directly on the place where Sue was sitting before. If it weren't for her to see the flash quickly, it would have been smashed into flesh by now. Looking at Sue beside him, he couldn't help but burst into a swear word. Damn, what kind of world is Nima? Are people still in the sky in the middle of the night? That's right, Sue has already seen that he has fallen from the sky alone. It's just because this person is face down and can't see it. But looking at his figure, Sue is sure this is a man, the man. Thinking of this, Sue's eyes lit up. Doesn't he just need a man to detoxify now? Could it be that God didn't want to watch her die, so he gave her a man specially? The medicinal effect reached its peak, Sue's consciousness gradually faded, his face flushed like cooked shrimp, and his whole body was shaking slightly because of the heat that could not be relieved. At this moment, there is only one thought in her mind: she does not want to die, she wants to live. Seeing the man in front of him lying motionless, Sue didn't care about anything else. A few steps came to the man's side, turned his body over, and found that the man's face was wearing a purple mask. Except for a mouth and eyes, he couldn't see his appearance at all. At this moment, the man has passed out in a coma, and his slightly undulating chest proves that he is still alive. Before the last trace of reason flew away, Sue whispered to the man on the ground, "I'm sorry." Then, he threw himself directly on the man. Although she was still a virgin in her previous life, as a top killer, her knowledge in all aspects is very powerful. Even if she hasn't done it with real guns, she has seen countless island movies during the killer training. Relying on his strong theoretical knowledge and the support of the powerful love potion in his body, Sue was in a hurry, and the man who had fallen from the sky rudely wiped out the food. 500 words are omitted here. Sue woke up again because the morning sun hit his face, a bit dazzling. Looking at the blue sky above his head, Sue's eyes were confused and his brain crashed briefly. Immediately, I felt something wrong under my body and looked down slowly. It's okay if I don't look at it. At a glance, a face instantly bursts red. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 4, Feng Che. Because she was lying on her body with a bare-chested man, and she was lying on her body in an ambiguous posture. Su Jia. Before I could think too much, I immediately thought about standing up, but after such a move, I suddenly felt a chill. Taking a closer look at his current situation, Su just wanted to pass out directly. What the is this? After putting on the messy clothes awkwardly and clumsily, Su felt a little better now. At least it won't be like just now, I really want to punch myself out. Looking at the man lying on the ground and the strange clothes on his body, he was killing people in modern times, his head was calm, and his brain crashed for a moment. Stupidly staying in a daze for a while before remembering my own experience. Damn Hades, don't let my old lady see you. Otherwise I will let you know why the flowers are so red. Su Shen breathed several times before whispering fiercely. I clearly said that I am a lady of the palace, right? But what's the situation? Not only is there no treatment for Miss Wang's palace, but it's so special that you lose yourself right after wearing it. Looking at the deserted environment around him, Su felt that he had to leave here first. Although there is no memory of this body yet. But no matter what the identity of the original owner of this body is, since she has come, and in order to survive, she has lost the first time in her previous life and this life, so she can't waste this opportunity to live once, right? How to say that in modern times she is also the existence of a generation of hegemons, no matter what identity the original owner has, in this strange world, she can also live out her own wonderful. Thinking of this, Su touched his body, and found that the original owner really performed penniless vividly. There is nothing but clothes. Looking at the unconscious man on the ground, he looked at the outrageous clothes on his body that was torn by her. Su Wei paused, squatted down to tidy up his clothes, and then touched him with a small hand. Under her waist clothes, she touched a delicate purse. The corner of Su's lips hooked, and he tore it off. Looking at the purple mask on the man's face, she hesitated whether to lift the mask to see what the antidote looked like. After all, this guy is the man who took the first time in his previous life. Just when Su's hand touched the man's mask, the originally comatose person suddenly frowned and let out a slight muffled sound. Su was surprised and immediately withdrew his hand. Seeing the man's eyelids moved, he seemed to be waking up at any time. Thinking about what he had done before, Su felt that he would be stupid if he didn't run now. So, he took a deep look at the man on the ground, and his red lips lightly said, "The antidote, thank you for what happened last night. However, you are also considered cheap. Even if we are even, we will not owe each other good. It will be indefinite." After saying that Su Chibu was about to leave, the corner of his eyes suddenly turned to a simple ring not far away. It was exactly what she got from Hades when she left from the underworld. Su walked over, picked it up and put it on his hand, took another look at the man who was about to wake up, turned and disappeared into the morning light. Fengtian City, the imperial capital of Fengtian Kingdom. Phoenix Palace Hall. At this moment, there is a white-clothed man standing in the hall. The man is dressed like snow. He has a noble temperament that no one can match, as if he is the king of heaven and earth, and people can only look up. His facial features are as handsome as a knife, and a pair of star eyes, like the vast starry sky, are extremely bright. The exquisite face is like a top painter, drawn out one by one, extremely charming. The beauty of this man is shocking, and it is shocking that people almost dare not look directly at him, because his face is too dazzling. He is like the absolute darling of the heavens, who has bestowed him everything that is absolutely perfect, which makes people only amazing, extremely amazing. However, at this moment such a delicate and handsome man, the expression on his face can only be described by clouds. Even so, he is still beautiful. Kneeling in front of him was a man wearing a black and a basket of glamorous outfits. The two men bowed their heads and knelt in front of the man. They did not dare to breathe. If you look closely, you will find that the two of them secretly used their eyes aiming at the man in front of him. "What do you mean, when you found this king, only this king himself was at the bottom of the sky?" The white-clothed man's cold and dangerous voice sounded. "Yes, master, when the two of us followed Linging to find you, only the master was in a coma at the bottom of the valley." The blue-clothed man secretly looked up at his master and said, "And then?" the white-clothed man asked in a violent anger. When the two heard the words, they were taken aback. "What then?" "After the master was poisoned last night, they failed to stop the mad master and watched him fly out of the palace. In the end, the genius Dr. Bai did not hesitate to waste his skills and condensed 10 eagles continuously. In the end, after dawn, the two of them took the lead in following the guidance of Lingying and found the master who was in a coma at the bottom of the valley. Then they brought the master back to the palace." "No more then." "What does the master mean?" "Then, Lan Yi and I brought the master back." The man in black thought for a while and said truthfully, "Is there anyone beside the king?" After a long silence, the white-clothed man asked leisurely. "Back to the master, no one else." Lan Yi said inexplicably. "Get out," spit out 2 words coldly, and the man in white turned and went into the back hall. In an elegantly decorated room, there is a man in purple clothes lying on the bed. His face is a little pale at the moment, his eyes are closed. It is obvious that this person is in a coma at the moment. The man in white watched the person on the bed for a moment, and his figure disappeared into the room in a flash. When he reappeared, his people had already reached the bottom of the sky, where he was in a coma before. Looking at the obvious messy traces of the surrounding vegetation, the man's eyes became more cold. No one knows what he is thinking, and no one knows that he is now angrily trying to kill. Damn it. Don't let him find that woman, otherwise, he will definitely make her worse than death. That's right, this man in white is no one else, but the man who was wiped out by Su before. The idol Phoenix King Fengche of Fengtian Kingdom. After the poisonous attack last night, in order not to hurt the people of the palace, he flew to the Luotian Valley with the last trace of reason, but did not want to lose consciousness at the last moment when he was about to land, and fell to the bottom. When his consciousness disappeared, when he fell from the air, he vaguely saw that there was someone at the bottom of the valley. He originally wanted to call the other party to get out, but at that time he fell into a coma. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 5, that was you talking just now. But he was just in a coma, not dead. Therefore, he naturally knows what someone did to him. However, because of the poison, even if he has a clear consciousness, his body cannot be sober. However, he clearly felt that he was given to by a woman. After being strengthened by a woman, he would endure it. He thought he would wake up slowly, but who knew that the woman was just a hooligan, and finally fainted himself. When he woke up, he had already returned to the palace. However, he couldn't get rid of this incident. This was simply a failure in his life. He wanted to catch that woman back and tortured her to death. Feng Che narrowed his eyes dangerously and looked around carefully, hoping to find a trace of the clue left by the woman. Unfortunately, he still went back and forth to this place and looked at this place countless times, but there was still no trace of a woman. Trace. If he hadn't personally experienced it last night, he would have doubted whether he was dreaming. In the end, Feng Che could only leave unwillingly. The 5 poisonous forest opposite Luotian Valley. When Su woke up again, he found that he was in a strange place, a gray space in front of him, and he could barely see his 5 fingers when he stretched out his hand. She was a little bit confused because Mao herself would appear here, and her inspiration flashed, and she suddenly thought of what happened before. Originally, she wanted to see what the antidote looked like, but found that the other party was about to wake up, so she slipped away with oil on the bottom of her feet. Who knows how far she didn't go, she was sweating profusely because of the weakness of this body, so when she found that there was a water source not far away, she followed the sound of the water and came to a pool. After washing my face, I sorted out the clothes I wore indiscriminately, and then found that there were fish in the pool, so I just caught a few of them and prepared to avoid my 5 internal organs temple. Who knows, when she was picking up the fish, she accidentally cut her finger, blood flowed to the ring on her hand, and then she saw a burst of dazzling light from her hand, and she lost consciousness. Then where is it? Su muttered as he looked at the gray space all around. This is the space within the black and white ring. At this moment, a distant voice came. Black and white ring. Are you talking about this? Su raised the ring on his hand. Yes, since the black and white ring has recognized you as the master, you will be the master of the black and white ring from now on. The voice continued. Oh, then who are you? Su lowered his head to play with the ring in his hand, secretly guessing the identity of the other party. Although she has never crossed, she has seen some of the so-called cross-drama Chuanhaiyu novels in modern times. It is not because of how much she likes to read, but as a top killer, she does not allow blind spots in her knowledge zone, and she will spend time to understand what she likes or dislikes. In addition, she was born with an unforgettable ability in her previous life. As long as she reads anything, she will never forget it. For her, reading a book is more than dozens of lines. She just finished reading a book called Peace Arrogant Miss Nine's fantasy novel. The heroine seems to be similar to her own identity, and has traveled to another continent. Many of the plots in it are still fresh in her memory, which means that she has also met Goldfinger and has a powerful spatial ring. However, there is an inexplicable voice on my own territory now, only movement does not appear. Is this looking down on my own master? Huh, that's right. You are too weak now, you are not qualified to know who I am. As if deliberately doing the right thing with Su, the other party said directly with a smile in his voice. Really? Since you said that I am the owner of this ring, and you, since it exists in this ring, presumably this ring is also very important to you. If I throw this ring into the cesspool, I don't know. Su said kindly. Dare you? Do you know that the black and white ring is a god? How can you blaspheme at will? The other party was obviously angry. The fetish? What does it have to do with me? I can live wonderfully without this ring. A fetish that somehow recognizes me as Lord, God knows if it will cause me trouble. I am lazy and hate trouble. Su said disdainfully. Sample it. Calling her in her place, I really thought my sister was afraid of you. How can I say that my sister's soul is from the 21st century? Can anyone with a high IQ throw you a few kilometers away? Playing with my sister is really irresponsible. The other party obviously didn't expect Su Hui to say that. Thinking about it carefully, what she said was indeed correct. She would live with or without this ring, but she has been drifting in the cosmos for so many years, and if she can't find the owner, it may disappear. But, looking down at his own appearance, it is very unwilling to see people swollen. What to do? You can't come out yet? I count to 5. If you can't come out yet, don't blame me for being rude. Sue said lightly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pang. Seeing Sue took off the ring in her hand and immediately counted to 5, she bumped into a ball of things in her arms. Sue lowered his head to look at the ball that crashed into his arms, a white, hairy ball, nestled in Sue's arms at the moment, without showing his face. Sue saw that the corners of his mouth twitched fiercely. Is this guy what he was talking about? Is it shy? Just now arrogantly said that he is weak, is this guy really? Sue curiously picked it up directly and brought it to his eyes. Ah, what are you doing? The little guy was picked up by Sue and had to raise his head and shouted. Only then did Sue see what it looked like, how to say it. Rao, who is well informed in modern times, didn't see what this guy was. It was about the size of a rabbit, round and ball-like, without a tail, and snow-white without a single hair. A pair of pitch-black eyes look very cute, a small mouth looks like a red date, 2 ears are small, white in the hair, you can't see it unless you look closely, and it even with no legs, Sue suspects that it uses rubbing to walk. I didn't use the rub, can I fly well? Perceiving the thoughts in Sue's heart, the little guy moved his body very proudly, leaving Sue's claws directly, floating in front of her eyes. Seeing Sue's eyes lit up, I have to say that this little guy is very cute, at least it hit her cute point, it's so cute. Moreover, the voice of speaking now is different from the previous one. The voice of speaking now is similar to that of a 3-year-old child, and it is also cute. Are you talking just now? Sue asked, looking at the little guy in front of him. Yes. Then you can say it again in your voice just now. Sue said in disbelief. I can't say it, I can only say a few words, it is a disguised voice, it can only be maintained for a while. The little guy said embarrassedly. Off topic. If you want to take away the new article, you can go to the comment area if you like to name it. Touch. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 6. Noob. Su Wenyen curled the corner of his lips, and the little guy was deliberately fooling her just now. Tell me what you are. Su grabbed the small white dumpling in mid-air and rubbed it in his arms. I am the spirit of the black and white ring, my name is He Yao, the little guy said proudly. Hearing that, Su picked up the little guy again, looked at it carefully up and down, left and right, and finally stared at the little guy with contempt and asked, Hey Yao? Are you sure you are not colorblind? Think of you as white-haired, it's dark. I'm not colorblind. I'm black, so my name is He Yao. The little guy insisted. Although he doesn't know what colorblindness means, his instinct is not good. Well, no matter if you were called Hayabai Yao before, you will be called Xiao Bai in the future. This name is a perfect match for you, understand? Su thought for a while and said. I don't want to call Xiao Bai is a mother. Not domineering at all. The little guy objected. The objection is invalid. Xiao Bai, tell me what is going on in this gray space. Su directly declared domineeringly. The space of black and white ring was originally not like this. What? As soon as Xiao Bai spoke, Su felt a sudden tingling in his mind, and Su, who had always been able to bear the pain, lost consciousness in an instant and collapsed to the ground. Master, what's wrong with you, Master? Master, wake up. Xiao Bai was taken aback, jumped onto Su's body immediately, and shouted nervously. Just no matter how it shouted, Su Du fainted there motionless, for a long time. Su finally slowly opened his eyes and rubbed his still a little uncomfortable head. Su now wants to faint again and never wake up. Not to mention that she traveled to this world, and in less than a day, she fell into a coma several times. Just now, after completely accepting the memory of the original owner, she has a kind of unlovable rush. And she now fully understands where she has traveled. This is a place called Funwu Continent, which is an aerial era not recorded in the history of the 21st century. The original owner Su Ruoshi, Funwu Mainland, the third lady of Su Wangfu of Fengtian Kingdom. I am 15 years old this year. I am born with waste material, ugly and stupid. Although she is a prostitute, because she is a trash, she has not been treated since she was young, and she has been bullied by people in the palace. Su Ruashi's father is Su Zhe, the only son of King Su. His mother's identity is unknown, and his whereabouts are unknown. 15 years ago, Su Zhe returned to the palace with his newly born Su Ruashi, and after handing over the infant Su Ruashi to the old man Su, he disappeared. It has been 15 years and there is still no information. Since then, Xiao Ruashi has lived a dire life in Su Palace. Lord Su has always disliked Su Ruashi, because seeing her reminded him of his only son, who had been missing for 15 years without news. So, I kept giving Xiao Ruashi to a nanny, just ordering no one to hurt Su Ruashi's life. Without this iron order from the old prince, Su Ruashi would have died thousands of times. And when the original owner was 5 years old, after Xiao Ruashi was tested as a waste that could not be cultivated, the people in the Su Palace became even more unwelcome to the original owner. In the end, the original owner was taken to the fallen Sky Valley by his 2 sisters after giving them a violent love potion. Originally, her 2 sisters wanted someone to tarnish Su Ruashi's innocence, and then push her down into the valley. Dead. Unexpectedly, when the original owner saw those jutting rushing up, he was overwhelmed and fell directly into the bottom of the sky. In the end, the fragrant vanished and the jade was lost, and her soul, who was killed in modern times, passed through. After sighing 250 times, Su had to accept his new identity. Is it waste? Is my parents missing? Isn't it welcome? Humph, that was Su Ruashi before, but now she is Su Ruashi. All the past will be erased, and she will rewrite her own destiny. Su Ruashi put her hand on her chest and whispered in her heart, since I occupy your body, I will live on your behalf. Those who have bullied you, I will avenge you. Actually, I am you, and you are me. Since you are back, I hope you can find your parents and rescue them. A faint voice sounded in her mind after Su's words fell. She hadn't time to figure out who this voice is. She felt a strange and warm power flowing throughout her body, making her feel comfortable screaming. After a while, Su Ruashi felt that his originally weak body seemed to be full of strength and more comfortable. Hey, master, your soul is complete. Xiao Bai said curiously as he watched Su Ruashi's changes. What do you mean? Su Ruashi asked somewhat puzzled. I found out that your soul seemed incomplete before, but after you fainted and woke up, your soul was complete. Xiao Bai said with some confusion. Su Ruashi heard the words and carefully recalled the meaning of the weak girl's words just now. Although she didn't quite understand what she said, you were me, and I was what you meant. But at least according to Xiao Bai's statement, it is a good thing to have a complete soul, isn't it? Anyway, she will be Su Ruashi from now on, and Su Ruashi will be her. As for the voice just now, it should have belonged to the original owner. Since she occupies the body of the other person, it is equivalent to possessing everything about the original owner, so her parents will be her parents from now on. No matter what, even if there is no request from the original owner. She would not watch her parents suffer. Those who owe her will return it to her one day. Thinking of this, Su Ruashi was still a little depressed. Because according to memory, this body looks like a waste, let alone she doesn't know where her parents are. What happened again? Even if I knew it, it would be difficult to save people just by relying on my current body of waste. Master, do you still want to listen to space matters? Xiao Bai asked uncertainly when he saw that the emotionally charged owner just now turned into a frosted eggplant. Yes, tell me, I'll listen. Su Ruashi said weakly. Oh, okay. This is the space of the black and white ring. It used to be. As Xiao Bai spoke, Su Ruashi's eyes brightened, and finally looked at Xiao Bai as if he saw many Grandpa Mao, with red hearts. Xiao Bai, what you said is true. Is this ring really so awesome? Su Ruashi asked interruptedly before Xiao Bai finished speaking. Ahem, master. Don't get excited, just listen to me. The black and white ring is originally a unique innate ring, naturally the most powerful. But because every master who has a ring is against the sky genius figures, therefore, many people have been chasing after them because of their coveting the black and white ring. After countless years, every time the owner of the black and white ring disappears, the black and white ring will lose 1 point, and it has become this now. It looks like it. If it weren't for you, I might disappear soon. Xiao Bai said. Finally, his voice became smaller and smaller. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 7, A Removable CRISPR. Xiao Bai, you mean, this once so awesome ring is now just a removable CRISPR? Su Ruoshi said viciously while watching Xiao Bai. Although Xiao Bai didn't know what the master said about the CRISPR, but seeing the master's terrifying expression, he nodded very acquaintedly. Su Ruoshi's original excited expression suddenly wilted again. I thought I found a treasure, but I didn't think about it, but it was grass. According to Xiao Bai, this black and white ring is indeed very powerful, very awesome. However, that's all the same before. The current black and white ring is what she sees now, only 3 square meters of space that she can see in front of her. Compared with the rest of the space rings in this world, even if the black and white ring has only such a small place, it is very awesome. Because ordinary spatial rings can only store dead things, but black and white rings can store all living things, including people. Because, Xiao Bai said, there is no profound energy in the space now, so you can't cultivate. Moreover, the most terrible thing is that Xiao Bai also said, because she signed a soul contract with the black and white ring, if the black and white ring disappears, then she thinks she is going to hang up. Conversely, she would disappear after hanging the black and white ring, that is to say, she was very lucky to be the last owner of the black and white ring. Su Ruoshi felt very painful. In her previous life, she was engaged in such a dangerous profession, and she had never given her life to anyone, but now it's better. After crossing into this strange world, her life was tied to a broken ring. Together. God, are you playing with her? Master, in fact, as long as your strength becomes stronger, the black and white divine ring will slowly recover, and then it will become the most powerful existence in the universe. Xiao Bai saw that Su Ruoshi was totally helpless. The look of love, said encouragingly. Su Ruoshi watched Xiao Bai look forward to the future. She really couldn't bear to tell the little guy, your master, I'm a rubbish. Perceiving Su Ruoshi's thoughts, Xiao Bai rolled her eyes indecently. Is the master stupid by the black and white ring? I actually feel like she is trash, and I don't want to think that if she is trash, how could she contract black and white gods? You must know that every master of it in the past was a genius of the evildoer level. Even if the master is weak now, will it be against the sky in the future? But looking at Su Ruoshi's current strength, Xiao Bai felt that the master was indeed no different from junk now. It seems that I am going to help the owner once, but if this is the case, it will sleep for at least half a year, and I don't know if it can wake up. However, looking at Su Ruoshi's lack of energy, Xiao Bai flew to Su Ruoshi's head with a gritted teeth. Under Su Ruoshi's suspicious gaze, a faint white light was emitted from the small body. After the white light came out of Xiao Bai's body, it fell into Su Ruoshi's head little by little, and then disappeared. After a while, Xiao Bai's body fell softly to the ground. Su Ruoshi quickly caught Xiao Bai's eyes, touched his somewhat stiff body, and frowned and asked, Xiao Bai, what's wrong with you? What was it just now? Master, what I gave you just now was the last bit of power essence of the black and white divine ring. I hope you can practice well. I'm fine, I just need to sleep for a while. Xiao Bai fell into a deep sleep after speaking. Su Ruoshi was holding the little guy in her hand, and seeing Xiao Bai, who was still alive just now, lying silently on the palm of her hand at this moment, she didn't know why, and a trace of sadness appeared in her heart. I blame myself for being too pessimistic just now, making Xiao Bai worried, so I didn't hesitate to use its power to cheer myself up. What is wrong with me? It was just a change of place, and she turned out to be worried. What happened to the waist? What happened to the dilapidated black and white ring? Who is she? Isn't she the of Death Su in the modern killer world? Xiao Bai, don't worry. I will definitely restore you to Heiyao, and I will definitely make the black and white divine ring reappear. Let's work hard together. Su Ruoshi gently touched Xiao Bai's face and said softly. Her words also made the little guy in her hand fall into a deep sleep with complete peace of mind. Su Ruoshi sat on the spot holding Xiao Bai and checked what Xiao Bai in the Sea of Knowledge had just given her. I don't know, I was really shocked at first sight. Even Xiao Bai didn't know what he gave Su Ruoshi, it was the spirit of space. So it possesses the most important power of this space in its body. It just felt that its only remaining power would be good for Su Ruoshi, but it didn't know whether it was good or not, how good it was. After all, it has never been used before. At this time, Su Ruoshi's Sea of Knowledge was floating in a golden book. The page had no name. Su Ruoshi realized that he thought about it and the book opened automatically. Su Ruoshi was a little surprised when he saw the content on the first page. But she still read the whole book seriously, and just after she finished reading, the floating book turned into a little white light and scattered in the sea of her knowledge, and the book was gone. But she feels that her mental power seems to have suddenly become a lot stronger, and her perception is much more sensitive. She knows that this kind of spiritual power, called soul power here, is a very rare and innate soul power. Combining the memory of the original owner, plus the record on the untitled book just now, Su Ruoshi has a deeper understanding of the world he is in. Fengwu continent is divided into two empires, Fengtian Kingdom and Earthwu Kingdom. The two countries seem to be peaceful, but they have never stopped fighting. Once the two empires were similar in terms of strength and financial resources, it was difficult to distinguish the outcome. However, the talents of Feng Tianhua have withered in the last century. Many talented younger generations have been killed before they have achieved a positive result. They are either missing or killed, but no murderer can be found. Although Feng Tianhua suspected that it was the work of the Earth Dance country, there was no evidence and there was no way to question. The two empires are now incompatible with fire and water. Because of the disharmony between the two empires, the rest of the forces on the mainland, also because they are located in different locations of the two empires, are disgusted with each other and are not in harmony with each other. For example, in the Fengtian Kingdom, the world's number one Zhuang, the opposing force is the world's number one in the Diwu country. As for the Pill Refining League in Fengtian Kingdom, the most annoying thing is the Weapon Refining League of Earth Dance Kingdom. In addition, there are four great families above the two imperial families, namely the Feng family and Ling family in Fengtian Kingdom, and the Shui family and Yun family in Diwu Kingdom. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 8. Grade. It is also because of the relationship between the two countries, the relationship between the two great families of Feng and Ling is closer, and the Shuyan family is even more intimate. The four great families have been screaming, both openly and secretly, for thousands of years. Of course, there are also forces that remain neutral, that is, the Beast Taming League and the Treasure Pavilion. Because of the scarcity of beast trainers, the major empires and major forces are reluctant to offend the Beast Taming League. Therefore, the Beast Taming League has always maintained a neutral position. And the Treasure Pavilion is because the master behind it is too mysterious, no matter whether it is the account of the two countries, they will not buy it. Relying on its intrepid strength, and the unique operating methods of Zhenbao Pavilion, arrogantly make money on the Fengwu continent. Because the Treasure Pavilion is the only power in the Fengwu continent that has pavilions in various countries. All the things in the Jumbo Pavilion are all valuable treasures. There are only things you can't think of, nothing you can't do without Jumbo Pavilion. As long as you can afford the price, you can buy anything you want at Jumbo Pavilion. Fengwu continent was originally a world where the power is respected and martial is the respect. All people can cultivate, except for the evil spirits who are talented, whoever cultivates needs some cultivation resources, such as pills and so on. Therefore, no one dared to offend Jumbo Pavilion. Coupled with their strong strength, you will never come back if you intend to go. Over time, I don't know when the auction houses in Fengwu continent were all acquired by Zhenbao Pavilion. Now the names of all auction houses in Fengwu mainland are called Zhenbao Pavilion. The people in Fengwu continent are all cultivators. People in this world can practice as soon as they are born. They all rely on absorbing the essence of spiritual energy in the air for their own use, and people have a unified name for this kind of spiritual energy, called profound energy. The level of profound energy cultivation is divided into red xian, orange xian, yellow xian, green xian, qing xian, blue xian, purple xian, mo xian, earth xian, tian xian, saint xian, God level. The colors and attributes of Xian Qi correspond to red, fire attribute, orange, yellow, green, wood attribute, cyan, wind attribute, blue, water, ice attribute, purple, thunder attribute, ink color, dark attribute, brown, earth attribute, white, light attribute, pink, gold, metallic, etc. Most people are born with a certain attribute, and when they are 5 years old, they will know what attributes they possess. Those with 2 attributes are very talented children. There are 3 basic attributes that are defined as geniuses. Once they are tested, they are all exciting things for the whole family. And the 3 or more attributes are basically evildoers, but there have been people with 3 attributes at most in Funwu continent, and there are no more than 3 attributes at all. People basically think that they are just legends. The original owner, Su Ruashi, did not have any attributes during the 5-year-old Fu test, that is, the legendary waste was rarer than the number of monsters with more than 3 attributes. At that time, that also shocked Feng Tiancheng. After all, although no evildoer with more than 3 attributes has appeared on the Phoenix Dance continent, it is said that there was one 10,000 years ago. But waste, it seems that it has never happened before, even 10,000 years ago. How rare are you saying? Su Ruashi was drunk when he thought of this place. She really is a unique trash. Among the several attributes, the fire attribute is the most popular, and it is also the rarest, because most of the people in Funwu continent are practitioners who practice water and ice attributes. As for why this happens, no one knows. The reason why the fire attribute is popular is that besides the cultivator, there are also several special professions, that is, the alchemist, the refiner, the beast trainer, etc. And want to become an alchemist, a refiner, a beast trainer, etc. The first thing to have is to have a strong soul power. In addition to the beast trainer, the alchemist and the refiner must also possess the profound energy of the fire attribute. The levels of alchemists are divided into Pill Disciple, Pill Master, Pill King, Pill Sage, Pill Saint, and Pill God. Each level is divided into 4 small levels: elementary, intermediate, advanced, and pinnacle. The level of refiner is divided into primary refiner, intermediate refiner, advanced refiner, master refiner, holy refiner, and God level refiner. Each level is divided into 4 stages: low, intermediate, high, and peak. And the beasts in this world can also be called spirit beasts, which are different from modern animals. The beasts here can also be cultivated. The levels of Warcraft are divided into spirit beast, holy beast, and sacred beast. Each level is divided into 1 to 9 levels. Spirit beasts above level 5 have a certain level of intelligence, knowing to avoid powerful enemies and risks. Spirit beasts can spit out human beings when they have cultivated to sacred beasts, and they can transform into human form when they have cultivated to beasts. The levels of animal trainers are divided into primary animal trainer, intermediate animal trainer, advanced animal trainer, grand master level animal trainer, holy animal trainer, and God level animal trainer. Each level is divided into 4 stages: low, intermediate, high, and peak. Whether it is an alchemist, a tool refiner, or a beast trainer, they are all hot jobs on the Funwu continent. Because even the strong will not offend the people of these 3 professions. Just because no one needs a pill or something, no one wants to have a good weapon, and a few powerful contract beasts. Therefore, regardless of the people of that power, they would rather offend 100 powerful enemies than offend an alchemist, a refiner, a beast trainer. Therefore, on the Funwu continent, as long as you become a teacher of all kinds, you will be treated like a VIP when you go there, which is incredible. However, it is not so easy to become such a powerful teacher. It is almost 1 out of 100,000 people. It can be seen how rare it is. Especially the animal trainer. If you want to become an animal trainer, although you don't need to have special training attributes, you must have a strong soul power. Otherwise, in the process of taming the beast, it is easy to be eaten back by the spirit beast. The light one may be seriously injured, and the heavy one may directly become an idiot. And soul power is innate, it is almost hard to improve the day after tomorrow. Therefore, compared with the other 2 major guilds, the Beast Trainer Guild has the least number of people, but its status is not low. As for alchemists and refiners, on the basis of having a certain soul power, they also need to possess the profound energy of the fire attribute. Therefore, the relationship between the two major guilds has always been bad because of robbing talents. The currencies of Funwu continent are silver coins, gold coins and profound stones. Profound stone can be used not only as currency, but also for cultivation. It is one of the common cultivation resources in Funwu continent. The exchange ratio is 100 silver coins equals 1 gold coin, and 100 gold coins equals 1 low-grade profound stone. 100 low-grade black stones equals 1 middle-grade black stones, 100 middle-grade black stones equals 1 high-grade black stones, 100 high-grade black stones equals 1 top-grade black stones. And the average cost of living for a year is only 100 to 600 gold coins. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 9, Practice. And the book that Xiao Bai gave to Su Ruoshi contained the poisonous doctor decision. Just look at the name and you will know what it is. That's right, besides the opening of this book is a brief introduction to the world. The main content in the middle is medicine and poison, which details the names, effects, appearance, growth environment and so on of countless kinds of medicinal materials. Then the formula and refining method of the pill. The second half is the record of poisoning. All introduced are the characteristics of various poisonous flowers, poisonous weeds, insects, and poisonous mists, and the configuration methods of various poisons. It is Su Ruoshi's ability to never forget, and it is a bit difficult to remember all these. Fortunately, although the book disappeared, it didn't really disappear, but merged into Su Ruoshi's sea of knowledge. As long as she thinks slightly, the answer she wants to find will be reproduced in her memory. Su Ruoshi had to sigh that it is even more powerful than the 21st century computer, and the computer still needs to enter commands. This is not bad, it is not necessary at all, as long as you have a mind. In the end, it recorded a set of cultivation techniques without a name. Su Ruoshi hesitated for a while, but he memorized those simple cultivation techniques repeatedly, and planned to find a place outside to try it. Su Ruoshi looked at the gray space again, and felt that her stomach was empty. Although she was not very hungry, it was probably a relationship she was accustomed to in modern times. She always wanted something to eat. Who made her a foodie in modern times? In the 21st century, she has always been lazy about everything, but she is very diligent in eating. For her own stomach, she has traveled all over the world and learned hundreds of culinary practices. Recall that in her previous life, she had been cruelly practiced for the first more than 10 years. In the later years, she seemed to be eating in addition to killing people and performing tasks. It's really too monotonous. I've been in the space all the time, and I don't know what's going on outside. Thinking about that, Su Ruoshi realized that he saw the outside scene, and couldn't help but sigh. It turns out that in the space, she can also see the situation outside, which feels very good. She found that the night outside was like ink, which means she had been in the space for a day, and it was already late at night outside. After touching his stomach, Su Ruoshi decided to go out and hunt prey, and it would be better to find something to eat. By the way, find a place to try if you can practice. Thinking about this, her people had already gone outside, and they settled just beside the stream where she washed the fish before. Seeing a few fish on the ground that had been half washed and thrown away by herself, Su Ruoshi reached out and picked it up and smelled it. I found it quite fresh. After handling it directly, I took it to the side, looked for branches, and finally found a few pieces of flint-like objects in the space, lit a fire, and grilled a few fish. Although there are no condiments, but the fish here is quite delicious. Su Ruoshi finally ate her first meal of purely original grilled fish after she arrived in this world, and felt that the whole talent was much more comfortable. Sure enough, for foodies, only when there is something in the stomach can I feel alive. After eating enough, Su Ruoshi looked around carefully and found that there was nothing strange about this place except for a small water pool. Moreover, apart from the occasional roar of beasts and the cold wind at night, it seemed to be quite quiet. Originally, she was planning to find a place like a cave to try if she could practice. But she took a closer look around and found that the forest was really not so big. Probably because of the relationship between the original owner's spiritual power, she found that her night vision ability is very good in modern times, and now her night vision ability is even stronger. She could probably see the situation 100 miles away, so after discovering that there were no caves within 100 miles to hide in, Su Ruashi thought she would try it out here. So after making sure that nothing around him would disturb him, Su Ruashi sat cross-legged on the spot, closed his eyes and recalled a few formulas he had seen before. Slowly calmed down, and then introduced the breath into the dantian. She doesn't know how wasteful her body is, she doesn't know if she can practice, everything can rely on her own groping. Gradually, she felt a gentle force, enveloping herself, making her feel warm and a little drowsy. But with her eyes closed, she didn't see it. There were faintly colored light spots in the surrounding air, scrambling to get into Su Ruashi's body. If you are seen by others, you will definitely be scared to death. Because the colors of the light spots that penetrate Su Ruashi's body are red, green, blue, gold, brown, purple, white and black. Even the moonlight in the sky has shed a faint moon. Hua got into her body. The profound energy of countless colors was slowly absorbed by Su Ruashi at a speed invisible to the naked eye. Not far from the water pool that was still crystal clear during the day, it has now become pitch black like ink, like a pool of ink. Suddenly, as if summoned by something, a chain of water slowly flowed towards Su Ruashi, who was sitting on the side. The black chain of water entangled Su Ruashi. It can be clearly seen that after touching Su Ruashi's body, the water chains were directly absorbed by her, and the ink in the small pool was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Su Ruashi also had feelings about these black pools being absorbed by him. But she was only taken aback for a while, and she didn't feel curious, because she thought of the original owner's memory that most of the people in Fengwu continent cultivated the profound energy of water and ice. Then the water is absorbed by myself, does it mean that she is not a waste? Is she able to practice? She was very happy thinking of this, so she absorbed it even harder. In less than 2 hours, the pool that was full just now had dried up, and it was completely absorbed by Su Ruashi. It's hard to imagine that so much water, she has absorbed it there. After the water in the pool was completely absorbed by her, Su Ruashi felt that his dantian was a little swollen, as if it was about to explode, and it was generally uncomfortable. She didn't dare to be careless, biting her lip and carefully following the method and the formula, controlling the unknown power in her body, all poured into her dantian. Finally, after a crisp sound, Su Ruashi felt that her whole person was full of power, and a few rays of promotion light lit up on her body. After a long time, the light of promotion completely disappeared, and Su Ruashi looked a little foolishly at the red profound energy at his fingertips. Unexpectedly, not only was she able to cultivate, she was also promoted, and besides the water attribute accident, she also possessed the rare fire attribute profound energy. Does this mean that she can also become an alchemist and a refiner? This is simply great. Poison Doctor's Cute Baby Chapter 10. Like a forest of 5 poisons and deep as the sea. 10 days later. In the depths of the 5 poisonous forest, Su Ruashi sat paralyzed under an ancient tree, dirty and sweaty on his forehead. In front of her lay the huge 8th-level spirit beast Sawtooth Tiger. Don't think you are a tiger, sister is afraid of you. Humph, it's not a good sister's dinner. As Su Ruashi said, he pulled out 2 venomous tiger teeth from the tiger's mouth and threw them away. In the space. 10 days ago, because she was able to practice, she sat in the same place and was happy for a long time, and finally returned to the space to sleep. Originally, she wanted to leave the forest when she woke up and went back to the original owner's palace to take a look. Who knows that when he wakes up and comes out again, he has been walking for a long time, only to find that he is lost and has been spinning around in place. Obviously she was in a puzzle formation, and she didn't understand the formation method. For a while, she really didn't know what to do. After watching the sun rising and the moon falling all day and night, Su Ruashi was finally determined. I was indeed trapped in a puzzle. Fortunately, this place seemed very safe. She was the only one in countless trees that looked the same during the day and night. Since she can't get out, she doesn't want to just wait for death like this. So I decided to sit down and practice while waiting to see if anyone would come here. Su Ruashi, who quickly entered the cultivation process, didn't have a mindful cultivation this time, and she didn't forget to pay attention to the movement around her during cultivation. Therefore, she was quickly surprised to discover that as she continued to practice, the surrounding environment seemed to have changed. Although it was very subtle, she was still discovering. For example, trees of the same thickness as before, as she cultivated for longer, some trees changed. Is it because I have to absorb all the profound energy here before I can go out? Su Ruashi thought with a move. Whether it was right or not, Sima had to try it as a living doctor, so Su Ruashi began to practice hard. Sure enough, Su Ruashi slowly opened her eyes when the promotion light shining on her body again, and found that her level had reached the Lan Xian intermediate level. At her age in Funwu continent, such strength is already considered a genius level. After Su Ruashi was promoted, the environment in front of her also changed. She found herself standing at a strange entrance. Except for a place that looked like a cave entrance in front of her, there was no way to walk around the cliff. Su Ruashi hesitated for a while, and could only choose to move on. No matter what was waiting for her in front, there was no word for retire in her dictionary. As a result, Su Ruashi walked into the cave with his feet in front of him, and there was a loud bang behind him, and when he looked back, she found that the entrance had been blocked, that is, she had no way of retreating, even though she had not thought of retreating. With no retreat, Su Ruashi can only continue forward. It is not so much a cave as a passage. Su Ruashi doesn't know how long she has been walking. When she went out and saw the scene in front of her, it was really I wanted to be indecent and violent, but she endured it. Because what appeared in front of her was still a lush forest, she instantly felt like she was being tricked. Otherwise, for Mao's sake, let her go from the forest side to the other side. I looked around carefully with some discomfort, and finally found an inconspicuous wooden sign on the right side with a line of small characters written on it. Su Ruashi walked a few steps before he could see clearly what was written on it, just like 5 poisons. The forest is as deep as the sea, and only after successfully obtaining the inheritance of the 5 poisons can you leave this place, otherwise. Su Ruashi curled the corners of her lips, and after reading it carefully, she found that there were really only those 3.5 sentences. The meaning is clearly expressed. In short, the place where she is now is called Wudulin. If she wants to go out, she must get the inheritance of the 5 poisons, otherwise, although there is nothing in the future, it is definitely not a good thing. She has never been a fate, and since she is here, she will find a way to get out no matter what. Thinking of this, Su Ruashi looked around and randomly chose a direction to walk. In an underground ancient tomb in the depths of Wudu Forest, in the center of a simple decorated ancient tomb, there are 2 coffins in black and white on the ground. The black coffin is made of top obsidian, which looks very low-key and luxurious. The white coffin is a fine crystal coffin, which is noble and generous at first glance. Above the 2 coffins, there are 2 light clusters, one black and one white. On the opposite wall of the 2 light clusters, there is a circular light curtain. What appears inside is exactly fighting a venomous colorful python. Su Ruashi. Old man, I think this girl is probably the descendant we are waiting for. Tens of thousands of years have passed, and finally waited for someone to be destined. The white light group flashed with a gentle voice of the old woman. I don't think it's necessarily. A blue profound intermediate level weak person. Although she has a physique that is inviolable, she may not be able to see us. So many years have passed. Come in. The black group of light flashed and said with the voice of an old man. I think this girl is different from the people who came forward. And, you don't want to think, if we can't wait for our descendants, the 2 of us will disappear completely in this world. Are you willing to be even an apprentice? Didn't it just disappear like this? The old woman's voice said with some dissatisfaction. Even if I have regrets, I will not pass on my own to the incompetent. The old man still said stubbornly. I believe this girl will do it. The old woman looked at Su Ruashi in the light curtain and said very confidently. From the time Su Ruashi suddenly appeared in their sight, she had an unspeakable affection for Su Ruashi. She believed that this girl would be able to pass the test and walk to them. I knew that the test should be simpler, and the old woman regretted it. Su Ruashi was really tired on the road like a dog. After a while, there were poisonous snakes and some poisonous flowers. If she hadn't been poisonous, she would have died hundreds of times. However, because of this, her strength has also been improved, which makes her very happy. In addition, she also collected many medicinal materials, poisonous flowers and poisonous weeds on the way. Now that she knew that she could become an alchemist, she would naturally not let it go when she encountered medicinal materials. After the palace returns, she still doesn't know what monsters she will face. She must allow herself to have more trump cards and life-saving methods. Su Ruoshi also found that the deeper the level, the higher the level of monsters, and the higher the level of the medicinal materials. After more than a month of experience, her hand was almost restored to its modern state, and her body was also almost raised along the way. She was no longer as dry and nutritious as she used to be. After promotion, she had a lot of growth. The fly in the ointment is that she only has such a set of clothes on her body, which is already in tatters. Fortunately, it is summer, and there are almost no people in the 5 poison forests. In the end, she directly pulled the complicated dress into half sleeves and shorts, which looked cooler and moved more freely.